which includes Miss Rosie Prescott, the new Deputy Lieutenant of the London Borough of Hounslow, the Mayor of Hounslow, Councillor Gurung, the Deputy Mayor, and the Chief Exec. Okay, thank you very much. Be seated, please. Good idea. Okay, good evening, ladies and gents and members. I'm the 56th Mayor of London Borough of Hounslow, the former Staff Sergeant, British Armed Forces Brigade of Gurkhas. And I would like to welcome to this evening's meeting of the Borough Council, which is the annual meeting. This is also sometimes known as the mayor-making meeting, for reason which will very shortly become clear. This meeting is also the first meeting of the new council following the recent council elections. As such, it is my great pleasure to congratulate everyone here on their election to the role of council in Hounslow. I hope that you have all had a chance to recover. We have a large number of guests tonight and dignitaries with us this evening. So I would like to extend my warm welcome to all of you. We are delighted that you are able to be with us tonight. May I also welcome a member of the public who are watching the meeting either on YouTube or here in Hounslow House in the public gallery. Thank you for joining us this evening. May I ask everyone present to make sure that their telephone are on silent mode. This is just the house rule. So please make sure that all phones are in silent mode. Also, may I remind all members that it is a long-standing rule in Hounslow that the public may tweet during the meeting. Councillor may not do so after the meeting has ended. Let me ask you, do you all member have the agenda document for tonight? Good. Thank you. We should all have the main agenda and supplementary agenda. Yeah, thank you. Which was published earlier today online. A hard copy of the letter has been placed on the table in front of you. Hope all have got that. There is also an official photographer in attendance who will occasionally be taking photographs at various points of the proceedings. May I remind guests that journalists that they are also welcome to take photograph or film proceeding, but should refrain from using any flash photography during the meeting and should remain in their seats so as not to obstruct proceeding. There will, of course, be plenty of opportunity for picture to be taken after the meeting. We will now move on to the first substantive item on the agenda. And I hope that everyone watching this meeting here in the chamber will have an enjoyable time, as this is usually one of the nicest meeting of the year. Please, can you remind? Shall I remind again for the phone on silent, please? Yeah. Otherwise, it's a normal rule that you will have to fine for another 5 minutes. Lovely, thank you. Yeah, always once. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Councillor John Todd. Right, we move to the agenda item number 1. All right, we've got the apologies for absent and declaration of interest from member. Apologies for absent. I have been received from the Councillor Gabriela Gills and Councillor Salman Sahin. Oh, you are here, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, just a Gabriel Giles. So, is there any other apologies or absent from the member, please?
Not for absence, but for lateness from Councillor Unsa Chowdhury.
Thank you. Any others? Thank you. Any member that would like to leave early? That's lovely. Fantastic. So,
excuse me,
yeah.
Mayor. Sorry. I haven't been feeling great, so if I do need to leave, I will let you know.
That's okay. And the Chief Whip,
Thank you.
note that, please. Thank you. Shall I draw now member attention to the document in the agenda on the declaration of interest? Is that anybody? Declaration of the interest from the member? No, thank you very much. We noted. Okay, now we move into the next agenda item. Is agenda item number 2. Is a nice one. Is members elected to the council. This first report is simply a request for a member to note the name of those who were elected on the 5th of May 2022. May I therefore ask member to note the name on page 7 to 8. Thank you. Thank you very much. I would like to wish all the members great success over the life of the council. Hope they will enjoy very soon. And on behalf of the council, I would like to thank all the previous members for their dedicated service to the council and the community in the past, and wish them well for the future. Okay, we are moving quite fast, and agenda item number 3, that is the election of the mayor and appointment of deputy mayor. Right. The first main item of the business tonight is the election of the mayor of the London Borough of Hounslow for the municipal year 2022 and 2023. Member will find this as page number 9 in their agenda papers. Right. May I now invite Councillor Shantanu Rajvat to propose a nomination, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I'm delighted to nominate Councillor Ragwinder Sidhu for the position of Mayor. And if I may, I'll just say a few words about Councillor Sidhu, if that's okay with you. Ragwinder Sidhu arrived in London around 20 years ago, and he came straight to Hounslow. Despite everyone's best efforts, he stayed. In fact, the place he first lived was just a few doors down from where he now lives with his wife Emma and his 2 sons, Aryan and Jay. After a cousin's wedding, he met and fell in love with Emma, and together they have their 2 boys and have built a happy life for themselves in Bedfont. He comes from a family in Punjab who always closely followed politics, and Ragwinder's interest intensified whilst he was studying first at college and then at university. His language skills are also quite spectacular, I'm told. According to Emma, occasionally he speaks English, but is fluent in Punjabi, Hindi, and Urdu. 16 years ago, he qualified as a solicitor and now has his own practice dealing with family law, immigration, and the occasional crime. Not from Emma, by the way. His interest in local politics has grown over the last 10 years, and as he's become more interested and involved in helping the community in Bedfont. This leads him to where he is now, the Mayor of Hounslow in the Platinum Jubilee year. We all know he'll be a great ambassador, how great an ambassador he'll be for our borough. So, Mr. Mayor, it's with great honour and pleasure that I nominate my friend, ally and comrade to be the next Mayor of the London Borough of Hounslow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leader of the Council, Councillor Shantanu Rajvat. May I now invite the seconded for the nomination, please. Yeah, Councillor Lilibeth, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to say a few words as well, if that's okay. It gives me great pleasure to second Councillor Ragwinder Sidhu, Councillor in the Bedfont ward, as Mayor of Hounslow. I have had the pleasure of working with Councillor Sidhu over the last few months during the election campaign. And well, one thing I discovered is that he has many names, and I have no idea why. I never got to the bottom of it. Harry is one of them. There's another name called Rinky, so I shall find out what that's all about. But yeah, he's been an incredible comrade, actually. He's really hardworking, he's enthusiastic, he's really engaging at the doorstep, and he really knows how to connect with local communities and residents, which is, I think, is a really important skill as the mayor. So I believe that he will be a great champion of all the communities, and he will really promote Hounslow and the residents and the community. So it gives me great pleasure to second this nomination, and I wish him all the very, very best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Lilibad. I now need to see if there are any other nomination. I understand that Councillor Kuldeep Tak would also like to speak. So may I invite Councillor Kuldeep Tak, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to propose Councillor Ranjit Gill's name from the Conservative group for the position of mayor. Councillor Gill is a ward councillor from Chiswick Gunnersbury ward, and he's a councillor from there for the second term. He's worked on cross-party tasks in past, like reworking the ward boundaries. So there's no reason he can't work cross-party, which is a mayor should be doing. He's a fellow of the Chartered Certified Accountants and an associate member of Chartered Management Accountants, and has worked in this field for over 40 years. We have a chance to have our first mayor for London Borough of Hounslow from LGBT community. And I would ask every member in this chamber to give it a thought. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Kuldeep Tak. May I now invite Councillor Ron Mushiso to second the proposal, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to second Councillor Tak's proposition for Councillor Ranjit Gill. I think he'll make a great mayor for Hounslow because Councillor Gill never tires of telling everyone about how the Labour administration in government left the country with that famous note of being there is no money left when they last left in 2010. And it's with this that Mayor Gill will remind us again and again on a local level that prudence with public money is really, really important, and it really matters. Because unlike the current administration, but he's also been a qualified qualified accountant, as Councillor Tak has already mentioned. He knows all about finance, and he's well placed, well experienced to help us raise more funds for charities across Hounslow. He is the best fundraiser that we've had in the Conservative administration in our group, and he will help us raise more funds here as mayor. What's more, the mayor's regalia, the red, as you see in front of you right now, will have a bit more color, given that Mayor Gill will have the old rainbow stripes on the lapels, a real classic look with the new mayor, I think. Unlike his namesake, Ranjit Singh, the Lion of Punjab, the first Maharaja of Sikh Empire, Mayor Gill will speak for all of the community, including the Hindus, our Muslim brothers, our Sikh brothers, and the Christians. Mayor Gill will go even further than the Lion of Punjab. He will speak for Africans, for South Americans, and beyond. After all, the one thing we all know about Mayor Gill is that he loves to travel. Just have a look at his Facebook page during our local election campaign. You see his passion for traveling. Can you imagine the fundraising trips that we could all have if you elect Mayor Gill? Forget London to Brighton, a skydive from the airplane, a cricket match in Hounslow. With Mayor Gill, that will pale in comparison. We'll have a trip around the Mediterranean. So have a look at your note that I've sent to you just a few minutes ago in your inbox, because that note says that Mayor Gill is the best man for the job. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Councillor Mushiso. We now have two highly respected candidates for the position of the mayor. I will therefore be taking both nominations together and will allow a short time for any member to speak in support of one or the other if they wish. I'm sure that all comments will be positive and non-partisan on this happy occasion. So I will, given the round of business and the presence of so many esteemed guests, may I request that member limit the number of speeches. Thank you to the member. Okay, thank you. What a nice is none of us. We got none. So I would like to now to invite Councillor Kuldeep Tak briefly to sum up in the favor of the nomination of Councillor Gill, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess myself and my colleague has said enough words about Councillor Gill, and I'd like to sum up with that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for Councillor Kuldeep Tak. May I now ask Councillor Rajawat also briefly to sum up in favor of the nomination of Councillor Sidhu, please.
Mr. Mayor, I'll follow in Councillor Tuck's footsteps, and I think we've said a lot about Councillor Sidhu. Really pleased to support him. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Rajawat. We now move to the vote. Yeah, for all vote, it is by raising the hand. We have two candidates this evening for the role of mayor in 2022-23. So may I ask member to vote with a show of hands for the candidate they would like to be elected. So I will ask first for vote for Councillor Ranjit Gill. Please raise a hand. Line of Punjab. Thank you. Thank you very much. I now would like to ask vote for Councillor Sidhu, please. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I confirm that the Councillor Raghibendra Sidhu has been elected as a mayor of the London Borough of Hounslow for the municipal year 2022. Thank you. Okay, new mayor has just now signed the declaration of the acceptance of office. So congratulations to him. May I now invite the Chief Executive to address the council, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Under the provisions of Schedule 2 of the Local Government Act of 1972, I announce that Councillor Adesh Farmahan has been noted as the Deputy Mayor of the London Borough of Hounslow for this municipal year.
Thank you. Thank you very much, members. There will now be a short adjournment of the meeting. Okay. Please take your seats. Please be upstanding for the mayoral party, which includes the Deputy Lieutenant, the new Mayor of the London Borough of Hounslow, Councillor Sidhu, the Deputy Mayor, and the Chief Executive.
Thank you. Be seated, everyone. Mr. Gill, although voting don't go that well, sorry about that, because it's all numbers, unfortunately, or fortunately, I would say. During Ranjit Singh, there was no democracy and no voting, sorry.
I'm still the Lion of Punjab.
I'm not debating that, Mr. Gill. You are Lion of Punjab. So let's start the business. We now move vote of thanks to Councillor Bishnu Gurung as a previous mayor. As you will know, it is the tradition that whoever proposed Mr. Mayor last time, Councillor Karan, he's not here today, present, so I will request Catherine, Councillor Dunn, to give a vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I'm delighted to be here to give a vote of thanks to Councillor Bishnu Gurung for his term as Mayor. Bishnu was elected by his peers last year, partway through the COVID-19 pandemic. He started with great enthusiasm and excitement despite the limitations of our time. He is the first Gurkha Mayor that we've had in Hounslow, and his election was welcomed across the borough, especially by the Nepalese community. He's been a real ambassador for all of us, though, showing the multicultural aspect of our borough at its very best. He has raised many thousands of pounds for his chosen charity, the Armed Forces Charity, by attending a whole raft of events right up until this afternoon. So Bishnu, hello Bishnu. On behalf of the council, your friends and colleagues in the Labour group, the Nepalese community, and all of the people that you have met, we thank you for your service as Mayor of the last year.
Thank you, Councillor Dunn. Now I request Councillor Chopra to second the vote of thanks, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Bishnu, I would just like to support all the words that have been spoken by Councillor Dunn, and I would just like to add that you have done tremendous work in the last year in these difficult times, and I'm happy to support and second the vote of thanks. And I want to thank you and your family for all that you have done for the Borough of Hounslow over the last year. Thank you, Vishnu.
Thank you, Councillor Chopra. We should not forget the amount of work and support given by Councillor Mir, Hena Mir, as the Deputy Mayor, and Mrs. Sita Gurung as a mayoress who supported throughout the year to Councillor Gurung. So thank you, Mrs. Mir and Mrs. Gurung. So now can we come on vote and move vote of thanks to Councillor Gurung, please. Thank you. Can I request Councillor Gurung to come and get your badge, please? Thank you. Now I request Councillor Gurung, can you say a few words? How was your this year and how you enjoyed your mayoralship this year?
Thank you very much. May I request the Yad to play my video first, please? Hello, members. Good evening. As you all know, of Hounslow for year 2021 comes to an end. I would like to spend a few moments reflecting on the past 12 months. Through my role, I have been able to meet so many inspiring local residents and support numerous community and voluntary organizations in Hounslow. I have been at the amazing One Hounslow spirit of hope and compassion since in our communities as we face so many challenges. Some personal highlight from me include attending the opening of the wonderful new Brentford FC Community Stadium, celebrating VJ Day, VE Day, and Armed Forces Day for Hounslows Royal British Legion, marking Remembrance Day and Remembrance Sunday across the borough. Meeting Prime Minister of Nepal, Sher Bahadur Devwa, and so many more communities and faith groups. I have also been able to support SAFA, the Armed Forces Charity, as the mayor's charity for the year 2021 and 2022. SAFA provides servicemen and women, veterans and families with a critical face-to-face guidance and support. This charity has a very special place in my heart. As a former British Gorkha Staff Sergeant with 19 years service. So thank you to everyone who has taken part in our fundraising initiatives for SAFA over the past 12 months. Looking ahead, I would like to wish our incoming Mayor, Councillor Raghavendra Sidhu, all the best for the year ahead. In addition, I would like to give a very warm welcome to our new leader, Councillor Santanu Rajawat, and Deputy Leader, Councillor Catherine Don. Being given the chance to support and celebrate our borough was truly my favorite part of being the mayor of the London Borough of Hounslow. These memories will remain in my heart forever, and I'm touched to have served you. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, on behalf of Cranford Community College and Heston West Big Local, I would really like to thank you for the support that you've shown both organisations over the past year. You know, you've been a real hands-on mayor, get involved in all sorts of things, including the building of the garden pavilion. So thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.
Hi Bishnu, I just wanted to say a huge congratulations to you on your time as Mayor. It has been an absolute privilege to work with you and to support your efforts, huge efforts, for your mayoral charity and to raise awareness of the really important work of SAFA. Being so flexible and still reaching so many events, large and small, in every part of the borough. Thank you and congratulations again on all your achievements as Mayor and for doing so much for Hounslow.
Hi, Councillor Bishnu Gurung. When we were selected in 2014 to represent Hanworth Park, it was a life-changing moment for us. But had you put 8 years of an excellent, loving friendship that will last forever into a soundbite? Last week, we were remembering our comrade Tina Howe, who we lost some years back, and all the work that we've completed and all those we've helped over the 8 years. I'm proud of your attainments. Well done, my friend, Councillor Bishnu Gurung, for all the outstanding mayoral achievements and the goodness you have planted in the borough, which is waiting to sprout out in the years to come. And all the work you've done with SAFA, it's been integral and will continue. Bye for now, my friend. Until next time.
Thank you. I now have a short speeches, and you have already seen most of it. But however, I would like to mention with my wording here. So I would like to address first of all the members as my tenure as the 56th mayor of the London Borough of Hounslow for 2021 and 2022. Sadly comes to an end. I would like to spend a few moments reflecting on the past 12 months, which is you have just seen it. Yeah. Firstly, I would like to thank all of my fellow councillors from both sides of the chamber for giving me the great privilege and responsibility to serve as the mayor. I would also like to give a special thanks to our former leader, Steve Corran, who did not stand for election this year. I wish you all the best with your treatment and good health for the future. A special thank you to officers from the mayoral support team too, Carol Pierce and Nicole Lewis. They have been a rock of support for me throughout the past year and enable the mayoralty to achieve so much. Despite so many difficulties and struggle throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, my final thanks go to my deputy mayor, Councillor Hina Mir, who has worked with me side by side to represent the mayoralty across the London Borough of Hounslow, covering various challenges. Through my role, I have been able to meet so many inspiring local communities and support the numerous community and volunteer organization and the charity organization in Hounslow. I have been the amazing One Hounslow spirit of hope and compassion shrine in our communities as we faced so many challenges. I feel proud of Hounslow becoming the Council of the Year and Brentford FC joining the Premier Champion League during my mayoral term. It's a fantastic achievement. Some personal highlight for me included attending the opening of the wonderful new Brentford FC Community Stadium, celebrating VJ Day, VE Day, and Armed Forces Day with Hounslows Royal British Legion. I believe they are here too. Thank you. Yeah. Meeting with the Prime Minister of Nepal, Sher Bahadur Deuba, and attending the Indian and Nepalese embassies meeting, and so many, many more there. I have also been able to support SAFA, the Armed Forces charity, provide the service men and women, the veterans, and military families with crucial face-to-face guidance and support. The charity has very special place in my heart. As a former British Gorkha Staff Sergeant with a 19-year service, so thank you to everyone who has taken part in our fundraising initiative for SAFA over the past 12 months. We have managed to raise pound 8,044 pound and attended nearly 200 events together with mayor and deputy mayor during this difficult time of the year. Looking ahead, I would like to wish our incoming mayor, Councillor Raghavendra Sidhu, and Deputy Mayor, Councillor Adesh Farnham, all the best for the year ahead. In addition, I would like to give a very warm welcome to our new leader, Councillor Shantanu Rajawat, and Deputy Leader, Councillor Catherine Dunn. Finally, being able to support and celebrate our borough was truly my favorite, part of being the mayor of the London Borough of Hounslow. These memories will remain in my heart forever, and I'm touched to have served you. Thank you. I now would like to invite my supporter in mayoral office. I would like to give her a bunch of flowers. So may I invite Carol Pierce, please. And also, I would like to invite Nicole Lewis, please. I think I also would like to extend my thanks to communication lady. Is Liz Angus? I think she is not here tonight. The Liz? Liz. Yeah, communication. Yeah, who help? Yeah, Liz Kelly. She's not here? Yeah, I think Sagar is here. Yeah, I think it's Liz. Yeah, yeah, he'll make this one. Thank you for tonight. This is all from me, ladies and gents, and hand over to Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gurung. It's a great honor and pride to be selected as 57th Mayor of London Borough of Hounslow for municipal year 2022 and 2023. I would like to start thanking all the fellow councillors from both sides of the chambers for awarding me with this great privilege and responsibility to serve as a mayor. I would like to show my appreciation to the work carried out by outgoing Mayor Councillor Bishnu Gurung and Deputy Mayor Councillor Hena Mir. Mayor Gurung has set up exceptionally high standards, supporting so many of our wonderful community groups and voluntary organizations and residents for over the last 12 months. In particular, he worked vigorously to raise funds for his charity, SAFA, the armed charity. This is an amazing cause, which I know is very close to your heart. As I look forward to this year ahead, I will take great pride in representing our borough and communities events across the Hounslow. We have such a wonderful summer coming ahead, if weather permitted. Queen's Platinum Jubilee, Hounslow First Summer of Culture and Women's Euro 2022. And this is just a start. I look forward to working alongside with my Deputy Mayor, Councillor Adesh Furman, who I am pleased to announce will be supporting me during the mayoral term. Of course, there are many challenges ahead, and as a part of mayoralty, we will be supporting a very special charity to raise funds and awareness for those most in need. The Polio and Children in Need charity is chosen mayoral charity for this year. They provide nutritional, educational, healthcare, and vocational training support to children with polio and other neuromuscular disorders. I have selected this charity because I was personally being affected by this virus. I was diagnosed when I was a few months old. Growing up in India was very challenging, physically, emotionally. However, this was a challenge which I required to face, and I always strive to be a better version of myself. My family provided me with a great deal of support and placed me in a private education to equip me with the necessary tools which are required in future. Thankfully, polio is eliminated from India, and further more works to be carried out in other countries. Every child have an opportunity to educate. And polio has affected many children considerably. Children require support to build their confidence, and any social taboo which may be imposed by different society should be removed. I would like to thank in advance fellow members, officers, residents, local businesses, and community groups for their support, raising awareness and funds for this very deserving organization. I have lots of ideas and how we can do this, and know I can count on your help and support, which is much appreciated. Finally, I'm with positive spirit of community and resilience, which I have shown in our communities over the last year, will continue to grow and flourish. The mayoralty will proudly celebrate the fantastic achievements of year past while looking forward to a bright future for Hounslow. Thank you once again for this opportunity to serve a mayor of London Borough of Hounslow. I look forward to getting started. Thank you. The charity, unfortunately, they were not able to come here today. So there's a small video clip they have forwarded us. So I request if we can play that, please.
Good evening to you all. My name is Arun Patel, Chairman of Polio and Children in Need, a UK and US registered charity. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate Mayor-elect Raghwinder Sidhu for taking up the post as Mayor of Hounslow for 2022-23. I would also like to thank him and his team for selecting our charity as his main charity. Polio and Children in Need operate in over 10 countries with 25 projects. It has impacted more than 25,000 children with various forms of disabilities in those areas. Unfortunately, I've not been able to attend the installation ceremony today. But I really look forward to meeting you all in the near future so that we can further make a difference in the lives of so many young, devastated lives. Congratulations again and best wishes. Thank you.
Thank you. I will now end this part of the meeting by reminding members that we all in this chamber over coming year will be involved in very important meetings and debates, discussions on issues affecting the life of our residents. While we may agree and disagree with each other, we can all work together respectfully, politely in these debates. And I will be requiring all members that in future meetings, as I intend to enforce it very carefully but firmly. I would like to invite all of the guests after the meeting in the reception just on members' lounge on the side. I move now agenda item 4, which is election of a leader and notification and appointment of deputy leader and the cabinet. I invite Councillor Jagdish Sharma to nominate the leader, please.
Mr. Mayor, ladies and gentlemen, and members of the council, it is a matter of great pride and pleasure for me to move this motion that Councillor Rajabhat, Shantanu Rajabhat be mayor, not sorry, be leader, sorry, of this great borough for the year, full term year. It's 4 years. Many people don't know about the leader's job. So it's a 4-year term, and we call it a strong leader model of the councils. And this is what councils choose what to do. It could be a mayor's role as well to be the leader. And there are certain leaders also who have been mayor, who are mayor. So I say it's a great player for me because Shantanu I have seen in a short period making a wonderful progress in every way. And pride is because you are the second from the ethnic minority who is going to the leader in this borough. So, but in Hounslow, there are good traditions now, and it is
really matter of pride for everybody, because there should be in the mixed community, there should be some white, black, yellow, whatever color we are, and that we should accept. Shantanu has wonderful qualities, many qualities, not one quality, but many qualities. He is very approachable first. Anybody can go to him, he will never say no. You will always see a smile on his face. And he is also very capable. Whatever he does his homework, I think for that we give you full credit. And I think you are setting a good example also for other peoples to come, who come after you. He is approachable, I said, and he has been on the council for 2 terms. And in these 2 terms, he has done a great job. I say he has done a great job because his portfolio is always very big, whosoever takes this portfolio. And if I just read today this Shantanu's, all the cabinet and the leader's portfolio, you will realize that what the leader has to do. Now it says the responsibilities. He is responsible for the strategy, policy, communication, external affairs, transportation, transformation, One Hounslow, because this is what we are now, and strategic workforce, organizational development, and human resources, and performance, oversight, and risk, financial strategy, capital delivery, and treasury management, governance and legal, commissioning, contracts and local economy, digital and ICT, information communication technology, customer services. Now that is the only leader's portfolio. He has deputy leader with him or her, and he has to give him or her direction, but in this case is her. All right? Could be anybody. So you can see that after that, there are 8 members of the cabinet. So you can see the responsibility, challenge the leader has to take on him. And I am very happy that our new leader will be such a person. He already works very hard. Sometimes I say to him, there is also your wife and son, which he sometimes forgets, but now I'll be after him again and again. He knows the borough fully well. And the borough people, the residents of this borough know him well. So this is the light, you can say, light burden on him. He don't have to again and again go like the mayor from one place to the other place and do this. But his challenges are great. So we got this Hounslow, we got the Council of the Year award. And this award is not easy to get. I have been twice on these functions in London, when all the boroughs in the country, some of them are being picked for their good work. And they come disappointed because I've been there. We were very much hoping that we are going to get this award. But at the end of the day, I and the director of finance, my Alan Steele, we have to come disappointed. So that's a great, I think, achievement for us in Hounslow. And for that also, Shantanu's, as a finance portfolio holder, his contribution is great. So these challenges, these other responsibilities, I think I will say to your family here that the next 4 years, they should be soft with you. Okay, but only for 4 years. Then, yeah, when you start the second term, then we will see again. So, Mr. Mayor, it's a really great opportunity for him and a great challenge. I'm sure a young mayor, deputy mayor with you, and the leader, he himself and Catherine, they will do a great job. I move his name as leader.
Thank you, Councillor Sharma. Now, can I ask Councillor Madiha Asim to second this, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And thank you, Councillor Sharma, for your illustrious description of Councillor Rajawat. You said everything I was going to say. On a more serious note, it gives me immense pleasure to second Councillor Rajawat. In the short period that I have known him, I found him to be extremely diligent, honest, and committed to his role, not just in the cabinet as a councillor, but also this is reflected in his values as a decent human being. In other words, Councillor Rajawat is perfectly positioned to lead this council as its leader.
Thank you, Councillor Asim. Is there any other nominations? Thank you. That's easy. It has been moved and seconded that Councillor Shantanu Rajawat to be elected as the leader of London Borough of Hounslow for until 2026. Is this agreed? Agreed. Thank you. Thank you. And now, can I ask Councillor Rajawat to address the council, please?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. It's the greatest honor of my life to be standing here. Sorry, I'm getting emotional like you, sorry. Standing here speaking to you now as the leader of the borough I've lived in and loved all my life. Thank you all very, very much. I'm pleased to see so many familiar faces on both sides of the chamber and a fair few new ones as well. Congratulations to all of you on your election. I'm looking forward to working with you over the next 4 years in building a better borough for all of our residents. I am, however, sad to say goodbye to so many wonderful colleagues as well, who gave everything they had to our residents in the time that they served with us. We owe them all a debt of gratitude. Congratulations also to Peter Thompson, who is on being elected leader of the opposition by the Conservative group. May I also give my thanks to Councillor Gerald McGregor for his service to the Conservative group whilst leader. And I look forward to working with him during this administration. Councillor Thompson, I know you'll do a fantastic job of holding our administration to account, and I'm going to make it just a little bit easier for you. You've told us in your statement earlier that you'd like to be a critical friend to the new administration, and I'd like to take you up on that offer by inviting you, alongside the Chair of Scrutiny, to join our discussions at Cabinet from this moment forward. Congratulations to our new Mayor, Ragwinder Sidhu. I know you'll do the borough proud as its first citizen. You're stepping into some big shoes vacated by our outgoing Mayor, Bishnu Gurung, who served Hounslow admirably this last year. Congratulations also to Councillor Farmahan on being elected as Deputy Mayor. I know you'll make a fantastic team. We're going to have a lot of fun. Stepping into big shoes is something I know only too well. I know you'll all join me in wishing Steve Curran well on his road to recovery. Steve could not join us this evening. However, I want to thank him for all his hard work and fantastic achievements over the last 8 years. Under his last administration, we built over 1,000 council houses. We were hailed as having the best roads and amongst the best parks in London. We took many vital services back in-house, and we won Council of the Year. I am committed to building on the best work of the last administration and delivering our bold manifesto by working to tackle climate change and air pollution, improving our estates and communities, offering opportunities for all young people, and building another 2,000 council and social rent homes for our residents who need them. But from the many conversations I've had on the doorstep, I know we need to go further than these commitments. There are some who have raised concerns about the council development and the height of new buildings. Others have asked for more consultation on traffic measures that were brought in with great speed during the height of the pandemic. I say to all residents of the borough, we have listened and we have learnt. You have rewarded us with a large majority and we will not take you for granted. It is my #1 priority to change the way we work, to improve the way we engage and consult with you, to ensure that the council works with communities on the decisions that matter to their areas, and have your voices heard in everything we do, from planning to parks. This will be the council of the people, for the people, by the people. You told us too that you want to see a cleaner borough. So today I'm announcing that we'll be working to bring in a weekly cleanse of all streets in the borough, coordinated with the weekly recycling collection, and ensure that highways never misses a street. To tackle fly tipping, we will introduce a free annual bulky waste collection for every household. I will also expedite our pledges for a greener borough and promise that we plant 7,500 new trees in the first year of this administration alone. We have a lot of work ahead of us, but I know that I have the best team for the job. My Deputy Leader, Catherine Dunn, and my Cabinet, consisting of Lily Bath, Tom Bruce, Samia Chowdhury, Ajmal Garwal, Shivraj Garwal, Guy Lambert, Sue Sampson, and Salman Shaheen, supported by Karen Smith, Danish Saeed, Alan Mitchell, Bishnu Gurung, and Aksa Ahmed, will be working tirelessly to deliver our promises to you. Mr. Mayor, together we will build a greener, cleaner, safer, and more equal Hounslow for all of our people. So let's get to work. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Now, shall we move to agenda item 5, pages 11 to 74? I think everything is sorted out between the groups. And any other extra nominations? No? Okay. So shall I ask Councillor Rajwar to propose the recommendations?
Chair, Mr. Mayor, I formally move the recommendations.
Okay. And Councillor Catherine Dunn to speak?
I second.
Thank you. All done now. Outside bodies? Okay. Shall we go to the vote? Agreed? Thank you. Yes, now agenda item 6, appointment to outside bodies for 22-23. Members will find that on page number 75 to 83. I request Councillor Shantanu Rajwar to propose the recommendations.
Yes, I do move it. There's one minor amendment which Councillor Dunn will take up in her seconding.
Yes. Can I take it for seconding?
Yeah, so I'd like to second it, and just to make you aware of the amendment, which is to the West London Waste Authority, as this deals with waste and recycling, that will be Councillor Guy Lambert who takes up that position.
Noted. Now we move to announcements. Okay, sorry. For outside body? Okay. So, any other nominations for outside bodies? Councillor Todd?
Thank you. I want my name on the Chiswick House and Gardens trustee. I'm already on that. And there's another name mentioned. Our leader doesn't object.
Thank you, Councillor Todd. Agreed. Shall we go on voting for this? All agreed? Agenda item 7, announcements. I start. First, I'd like to welcome Deputy Lieutenant Rosie Prescott, please. Welcome to the borough. We'll have a fantastic year ahead and we'll work closely. Thank you for joining the team. Now I congratulate Councillor Peter Thompson as the new leader of opposition. Many members know that you came back after a break of 4 years, so welcome back. And I'd like to thank Councillor McGregor for his, as a leader of Conservative parties and our leader of opposition, your contribution was always appreciated by the council. Again, and anyone wants to speak on that? Any announcement from the cabinet? No, thank you. We now come to some sad announcements at the end of this meeting, as many members will be aware that we have recently lost 3 former councillors, Councillor Liz Mehmet, Myra Seven, and Councillor Surjit Dhaliwal. Former Councillor Liz Mehmet, who died in early March, was a Conservative member for Bedford Ward, which is my ward. I worked closely with her. One thing I learned from her is keep pushing, keep going out. At the age of, I don't know, but she was very, very hard campaigner and she really make us work hard. She served on the licensing committee, West Area Forum, Special Education Needs, Transport Appeal Panel, and Bedford Lakes Country Trust Panel, and David Henry Waring Trust. She was also appointed to the Ecological Advisory Committee for Bedford Lakes. Before coming to Hounslow Council, Ms. Mehmet had been a leader of opposition in London Borough of Barnet between 1996 to 2000 and was elected to stand for Parliament for the Feltham and Heston constituency for the Conservatives in 2001 general election, although she was ultimately not successful. She remained active in politics after leaving the council. Councillor Myra Seven, who died in April, was a Labour member for Brentford wards between 2014 to 2018. During her time on the council, she served on Overview and Scrutiny Committee, Isleworth and Brentford Area Committee, and School Transport Appeal Panels, the Gunnersbury Park Joint Advisory Panel, and Chiswick Housing and Garden Trust. The Moltec Crematorium Board and Thomas Layton Museum Trust and Watermen's Trust. She was also a deputy mayor with former councillor Mr. Malik in 2015 to 2016. Former councillor Seven lived in Brentford for nearly 40 years and worked in education and NHS in communities and public health in Hounslow and across West London. She served as a school governor and was actively involved in a range of local and community groups. And finally, former councillor Surjit Dhaliwal, the news of whose death has only just reached us. Mr. Dhaliwal was a Labour councillor between 2006 and 2010 and represented Hounslow Heath Ward. During his time on the council, he was a member of Central Hounslow Area Forum and Hounslow Heath Advisory Board. Former Councillor Liz Mehmet, Myra Seven, and Surjit Dhaliwal will be remembered very positively by many in the chambers tonight and by those who knew them in the community. I know that some people will want to say something in remembrance about them. So I request Councillor Kuldeep Tak to say a few words about regarding Liz Mehmet.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had known Liz for many years. Well, not as many as the other people in this chamber may have known, but she was one of the hardest working members of Feltham and Heston Association, Conservative Association. When she passed away, she was the chair of Feltham and Heston Association. And I have not seen anybody else at that age group working that hard for the community, going out almost every day. Well, of course, there are councillors who work really hard, but going out in the community and talking to people, even though you're not a councillor or you're not holding a position in the council, but still caring about the residents, still caring about the people. She has done wonderful work during her tenure in the council as well, and people still do remember her for her work. I have done the campaign in Feltham North, and almost every other house I go to, people do know Liz Mehmet, who she was and what she has done for the area. And I hope she'll be remembered for years to come for the work she has done, and positively remembered. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tak. Now, can I request Councillor McGregor to say a few words, please?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. And thank you, Councillor Tak, for that encomium and praise for Liz. She was, as people have said, a remarkable campaigner, both politically and for the social environment, adult care, and for those who were disabled. She was to be found at things like Macmillan cake afternoons. She was to be found in health centres. She was to be found in areas where people needed support, attention to detail, and perhaps a response from the council, which she was avid at pursuing. She was indefatigable. She was supremely responsible for the defeat of Councillor Candice Atherton in the fight for London South West, which was won by the Conservative Nick Rogers. She and I campaigned. I have to tell you, she pounded more streets than I did during that campaign, and she was well worth the money. Former Councillor Liz Mehmet is remembered by other councillors. I've had messages from many. One of the proposals from Councillor Becky Stewart and Beverly Williams is to create a rose garden in her memory, a very appropriate memorial to someone such as Liz Mehmet. She loved flowers. She loved the outdoors. Other people, there are disabled members of the community in Brentford who remember her for her attention to them as part of her social and charity work. The other issues that come forward include the fact that she was memorable as someone who got things done. And we have lost a fine servant to the whole community in her passing. A key to that was her dedication and spirit. She had both in huge quantities. Her final illness came as a surprise to many because they thought that she was ironclad and indestructible. Her loss was very heavily felt by the people of Bedfont, by the people of Feltham and Heston, and by the people of the borough. And we know, from my own experience, that she'll be greatly missed. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor McGregor. And now, can you ask, please, Councillor Alan Mitchell, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I first knew Liz Mamet in 2014 when I became a councillor. And when we campaigned in that election in 2014, a lot of us said, oh, try and avoid Liz, you know, she'll give you a hard time on the doorstep or on the, if you happen to bump into her. But I must say, having been elected, I found her to be the most passionate, upbeat and full of energy community champion councillor that, or one of the best that I'd ever met on both sides of the political divide. She was and is very highly regarded across Felton, Bedfont and Hanworth. She was very helpful to me. She was entirely supportive of what I was trying to do in stakeholder meetings at the Southfield Centre in Bedfont Ward, where we used to meet the police, the fire service, residents and council officers, and try and get things done. Not always big things, but little things which accrue over time. And as I think Councillor McGregor alluded to, makes the world a bit of a better place. So I was very grateful for the support she gave me and us at that time. I think the area owes her a great debt of thanks, because she also taught a lot of campaigners, again in the Labour Party as well as Conservatives, how to go out there and be tenacious, as Ragwinder mentioned earlier. And that's something we can all take away with our memories of Liz. I'll always be very grateful for the support she gave me. She was always bipartisan. We had our political differences, but where something was important and needed to be done, she did not allow that to get in the way. And I think that's the mark of a good councillor. So, yes, we remember Liz Mamet fondly. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Mitchell. Thank you. And now, can I invite Councillor Guy Lambert to pay tribute to Ms. Seven, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, so this is a much more personal tribute to Myra. Myra was my ward colleague when I first became a councillor in a by-election in 2015. She herself had only been a councillor for a year at the time, but she'd been around public service, mainly in the NHS, for many years, most of her life, in fact. And she had a real passion for public service, and she knew the ropes. This was truly invaluable to a complete rookie like me. And for my first year or so as a councillor, I was asking her questions all the time and getting sensible answers and real support. Myra, Councillor Mel Collins and I became a tight unit in the ward and worked very hard together and very closely. It was always lively working with Myra. She was not a person to mince words. She was not a person to take things too seriously when there was a giggle to be extracted. And with Myra, it wasn't really a giggle. Giggling wasn't the order of the day. It was a real loud, noisy laugh. That was Myra for you. She was a good mentor, as good a mentor as a new councillor could wish for. Dedicated to what she was doing, but not about to let it take over her life. Full of kindness and full of fun, and always ready to call out foolishness or pomposity. But she never let fun get in the way of anything important. And she worked with energy, experience, and a strong intellect to help the people who really needed it, a true role model for any councillor. I was very disappointed when she decided to step down in 2018 with a plan to move with our beloved David to the South Coast. These plans never quite came to fruition, and Myra remained a Brentonian until the end, which meant those of us who counted her as a friend continued to see her, with hindsight not nearly as often as we should have done, as we might have done. Myra's funeral was last week. There wasn't a dry eye in a packed house at Mortlake Crematorium. But we're all reflecting on the privilege of having known her. Her partner of many years, David, and her son Edward gave us eulogies in a style she would have appreciated. Plenty of poignancy, but also plenty of jokes. We will miss you, Myra. you were taking from us far too early. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Lambert. Now I request Councillor Shantanu Rajvat to say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Lambert said a lot of what I was going to say, so I'll just focus on my interactions with former Councillor Savin. As we know, she was a councillor between 2014 and 18, representing the Brentford ward. And I remember the first time I met Myra. There's very few people that do this to me, but I'm not shy to say that I was a little petrified of her. She had a steely gaze and a real poker face. Like, you did not know what she was thinking, but she would stare straight through you. And I knew that nothing would get past her. And very rarely in our conversations did anything get past her. And yet, when she smiled, as Councillor Lambert said, the room would light up and all would be forgiven and we'd be best friends again. We'd have a really good giggle. Often I was chief whip at the time in the whips room, comparing notes about other councillors. Sorry, comrades. But with her cheeky smile and her young at heart spirit, you knew you could have a laugh with her. And she was really passionate about her causes and about Brentford. She really advocated at every opportunity for better for her ward. And they say that every ward councillor leaves their own little mark on their ward that they represent. And Myra certainly did that for her ward and for the borough at large as well in her role as deputy mayor. And she was taken far too soon from us. We will miss her, but her memory will live on in Brentford. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Rajvat and Councillor Lambert. Now, may I ask tributes for Sujit Dhaliwal, please? Councillor Vikram Garewal.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Sadly, on the 26th, sorry, before I start, maybe leader, we could have extenders for these under the new regime for taller people. Yeah, it brings me great sadness to tell the chamber that former councillor Sujit Singh Dhaliwal passed away after suffering a heart attack in India on holiday on the 26th of February this year. Many of you knew Sujit during his time, not just as a councillor, but a man of the community, and also someone that helped so many throughout his time in this country. He was born and raised in a village, or as us Punjabi Lions, Ranjit, sorry, us Punjabi Lions say Pind, called Jagrao in Punjab. He came to the UK in 1965, and during his time in this country, Sujit worked at British Airways. He had numerous businesses and created a rather successful business, and then added to that in New Bharat Coaches and Bharat Skips, as many of you know. He served with the distinction as a councillor for Hounslow Heath, as our wonderful mayor mentioned, during 2006 and 2010. I would know this for two reasons. Number one, he was a ward colleague with my father. And number two, I was his constituent during that time. So I know exactly how much work he'd done and was very thankful for it. He was incredibly close to many of us in this chamber, and particularly my family. Being a neighbour for over 20 years, I got to know him and his family incredibly well. And he was a dear friend of my father's. As many of you know, one of his best qualities and sometimes least admired qualities was that he was a very straight talker. So you know, whenever you spoke to Sujit Uncle, whatever he said, he meant it. And if he had something to say to you, whether it was nice or not so nice, he said it to your face. And believe me, that is a very acquired taste and quality in an individual, and something that I always respected about him. To talk a bit personally, as Guy did as well, I'll give you a funny and personal story. He met my father, whilst my father was a trade union representative for TGW at Gate Gourmet. And they got along straight away for a rather funny reason, because my father's mother's maiden name was Dhaliwal, the same surname. So they instantly got along because of that, formed a very strong friendship. So much so, then during that time in the early 90s, he actually told us about the house we live in today, down Laburnum Grove, where we live. He told us that it was on a great price, around 60,000, which you can appreciate. Doesn't buy you much these days. And he went so far with his generosity and good nature that he actually helped us move in. We didn't ask him to, but he was there on moving in day and helped us move in from our flat in Cranford at that time to Laburnum Grove in Hounslow Heath. So, you know, he was a man that often gave a lot back to the community. For me, I always say that he was a great man and someone I turned to advice for easily over the last 15 years. Throughout many stages, I always turn to him to get his advice on stuff. I know that I can speak on behalf of this entire chamber by extending our thoughts and prayers with his family, and also that he will be sorely missed by us all. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, for giving me the opportunity to speak about Surjit Dhankar, or some of them knew him as Skippy. I would just say Surjit Singh Dhaliwal, former councillor and friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gariwal. Now I request Councillor Amrit Maan to pay tributes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Firstly, can I congratulate yourself, your deputy, the leader and deputy leader on their election, and my commiserations to the Lion of the Punjab in Ranjit Gill. It was a great oratory run, and I'm sure with that, the Lion of the Punjab may ride again. There's not really much more I can add to what Vikram has said. Surjit was a great guy. I encouraged him to come onto the council. He did come onto the council. He came onto the council when we actually lost the local authority to the Tories and the ICG group. But nevertheless, he was always a positive individual. I think he came from his business background where he'd made fortunes, lost fortunes, and made them again. So he never really took no for an answer. And Vikram quite rightly put it. He did call a spade, and he did have the spine to say so. Because I remember once Gopal Dhillon, ex-councillor Gopal Dhillon, said, "You've disrespected me." He said, "Well, I can only disrespect you if you had respect in the first place." and I can remember those sort of ding-dongs that were going on all this time. But he, barring his businesses as, you know, part Skips and part of Coaches and the CAF opposite the bus garage where he started all this from, on a personal level, he was a very nice individual, certainly to me. And he did say to me, he said, "Amrit, you know, I might walk with a bing tring, which is a bend here and there with other people, but I always play a straight bat with you." And I like that, because that's the sort of person I am. I talk straight, and I like to meet another person who talks straight. And we had a bigger brother, smaller brother love relationship. And he came and supported me in my ward when I needed help. He would help the Labour Party in years gone by. His coaches carried the logos of the Labour Party and drove all day around Feltham, Heston, and Brentford, Isleworth. And that in itself was a great thing, because, you know, these coaches are not cheap to run, and certainly the petrol or diesel bill was horrendous. A lot of people called him Skippy because he used to rent out skips. And really, I could never understand why. There's lots and lots of other people. Ron Smith, right, rent out skips. He never gets called Skippy. But we always had a great deal of respect for him, because he was a central and integral part of the Punjabi community in Southall and Hounslow. And everybody, along with Vikram's dad, who had the Mystique restaurant, it became a watering hole for the rest of us to go there and have food. And some people had free food, and no names mentioned. But we actually had a lot of love for this guy. And with that, as on a personal level, I would miss him. He was a great mentor to me. He was a great support to me. and certainly in the coming years, he would be a great loss to all those people that knew him really well. So my thoughts and prayers are with his family, and I wish him every success in dealing with the businesses that he's left behind. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mann. On behalf of all the members, I would like to extend our sympathies and thoughts to the families and friends of late former councillors Mehmet, Sevin, and Dhaliwal at this sad time. Now, can we have 1 minute silence on memories of these councillors? Thank you. And that's conclude the announcements. So the next meeting will be on 14th of June and will be in an extraordinary meeting called Confer the Freedom of the Borough on 2 people. And normal meeting, Borough Council meeting will be on 19th of July at 7 p.m. in the council chambers. And I look forward to seeing you all. Thank you very much.